What's good? What's good? What's goody? Top of the rising, y'all. Top of the rising. We are here on another Gregorian Monday, right? As they say, right? But nah, man. I got a lot that's been going through my mind. But like I said, I kind of wanted to stay on the Atlanta stuff, and then we'll see where it flows from there. Pretty much, man, with the Atlanta stuff. I know the new episodes just dropped last week. I haven't caught up on them yet, so I'm gonna catch up on it this week. But I still wanted to touch bases on that last season, and I left off on the episode as far as saying organizations and stuff like that. The episode after that was pretty much what it's called, I think, Trinity to the Bone. So that one was pretty much as nannies being hired to hire kids, just in general. Like I said, you can look at it. It had a lot of stuff in there that as far as that, nannies. So it's pretty much as a Caribbean woman raising a kid. Say she was the nanny pretty much in the household, and she ended up dying, and the kid only knew, was kind of like, accustomed to the way that she did things pretty much. And, when the parents was trying to figure out, before they knew that the nanny was dead, they was figuring out what was going on. They was like, all right, well, she's not here this morning. And the kid was like, yo, can you put some curry on my, my food? And, the parents is, being nonchalant, not knowing anything really about their kid because they haven't raised their kid. So, they went through that whole thing like, oh man, our kid has actually been indoctrinized, as we could say with that, because that's what it kind of comes down to. Just, we can go deeper into that whole thing as far as pretty much at the end, since she's raising these kids and being a nanny for others, she missed out on her kids because she was always working and doing that, and her kids are mad and wasn't able to experience, the blessing of her, and et cetera, et cetera. We can go down the rabbit hole with that, man, which will probably be another journey. Probably not with that movie, but just in general, man, with things that we put our time into and the people that are affected by it. So anyways, that's kind of like what that whole episode was about, man. Just as when we leave our kids to be raised by others, we can't be mad that they're not accustomed to the way that we do things, because we left our kids to be raised by others. It's simple and plain as that. But what I wanted to go into also, just with that being said, we have, like I said, I've always been saying that, man. Just that's why I said, man, be accountable for your own stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. However you want to raise your kid, or just just whatever you want to know it, man. But we got to be mindful of the things that we are feeding ourselves, or we letting our kids be subjugated to, or what we say subscribe to, because eventually, as they say, what you do frequently becomes your frequency. So that's what that was in a nutshell. And if you do some more research and study, you can see that, Martin Luther King was kind of like saying the same thing. Like, hey, I think I let my people in a burning house. Marcus Garvey was all more, wanting us to do for self and not actually, saying it's cool to be, saying how we are right now. But in the same token, we got to do for ourselves and understand what is best for us, because a lot of things are being put out there for us that, like, all right, this would be best for you, as we see with the whole Section 8 thing, not having a man in the house situation, and they telling you what's best for you, but in the end, we're seeing that, it's not for the most part. For some people, like, oh man, we don't have that father figure around because I wanted to do this and that and the third, and with Section 8 and all that good shit. But it can go deeper and deeper. Like I said, we can keep on going with this thing, man. But what I wanted to touch bases on also, since we're kind of like touching on that too, just looking at looking at the days, man, and that's what we're trying to tell people, man. Like, look into the sources and the origins of where things come from, man. And a lot of us say, saying from Monday, and that's why I always say the Gregorian calendar and all that stuff, man, because a lot of that stuff is, just put it in our face and we accept it for what it is. And even when we look at the days of the week, man, and that was one thing, that's what I'm gonna touch on. So we look at the days of the week, and a lot of us, claim that we are Christians, and even that is not in the Bible, being a Christian. But anyways, I ain't even gonna go down that rabbit hole with y'all. But we claim to be this and be that, but then we still subjugate ourselves, for the ones that don't know, and if you don't know now, you know, but we still subjugate ourselves to the Monday through Sunday situation where, we don't even know the origin of that. You kind of like, what the hell is that? So the origins of those days, at least from what I found, Monday is supposed to be Moon Day, Tuesday is supposed to be Tears Day, and I'll get into that after that once I go through it. Tears Day. Wednesday is supposed to be Odin's Day, right? Thursday, Thor's Day. Friday, Freya's Day. Saturday, Saturn, obviously. And then Sunday, the sun. So for you that are familiar with the Nordic mythology, that's like, the Vikings and all that, so if we're Christians and all this good stuff, then why are we still celebrating or going through these days or paying homage to the Viking mythology? You get what I'm saying? We're subscribing to these days, as far as, Tyr was the god of war in that Nordic mythology, which I'm playing God of War, as y'all can see with my ones that follow me as far as my gaming situation. But yeah, there's, like I said, the Nordic mythology that, origin of those days that we're, subscribing to, if you choose to subscribe to. And a lot of people say also, if you pay attention, as far as Tuesday is a war day, they say just pay attention to a lot of wars are started or a lot of things happen on those days. But anyways, that's that, behind that. And what I wanted to touch on was once I kind of was researching all that, I was like, man, also I was coming across a lot of this, this Viking stuff that they've been throwing in front of our face, the Vikings show, which is, it's a mythology. It's nothing it's not historic, but they try to make it historic. You get what I'm saying? If you actually dive into it, you're like, oh, they try to say, okay, Lagatha and, Rollo and, all the motherfuckers, they try to put in history, but it's not really no history on them too much, it's myths, but they now are trying to convert them into history, which I always say, history is his story. So we gotta watch out, about the different perspectives. And then once you know that, man, you just know it's really just different perspectives as we live our days. So we may perceive a day different from another person. But anyways, like I said, with the Viking stuff, they had all that. They had the Viking, just the whole thing's coming to movies and stuff, and they just pushing that, which I don't know why, but time will tell, man. But once again, like I said, that kind of led me back to, well, damn, we still over here doing Monday through Friday and shit, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense in that thing, well, maybe it's something behind that, you know what I'm saying, they're trying to get your mind into now, you know what I'm saying, and make you aware of. But anyways, I'm just rambling on with a lot of stuff that, like I said, as you can see, food for thought. It wasn't really motivation, but the motivation, as always, man, go out there and be great, man. And always do your research, man, and look at the origins of stuff, man. And as they say, with the etymology of stuff, man, because a lot of stuff is not what it's cracked up to be. But once you understand, the origins and where it comes from, you are able to understand if I want to subscribe to it or not subscribe to the situation. And that's where it comes down to it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and end on that note, man. It is what it is, man. But yeah, food for thought. As always, man, Hakuna fucking Tata. I'ma holla at y'all, man. ACL, set to change it or leave it. And as always, you know what I'm saying, I'll holla. You do.